You made the decision. It was clear. It was right. You knew it was right the moment you made it. And then something happened. Maybe it was an hour later, maybe it was at 2 a.m., but at some point you found yourself lying there, running through every possible version of how they might be feeling about it. Wondering if it was too harsh, wondering if you misread the situation, or wondering just maybe you should send one more message just to smooth it over, just to make sure they know you still care. And here's the part that probably confuses you the most. You've been in therapy, you've read the books, you understand why you do this. You can trace it straight back to a moment maybe in childhood. So why? Why are you still doing this? If we haven't met, I'm Dr. Kelly Kessler. I'm a doctor of physical therapy, transformation coach, and I help high achieving women move from self abandonment to self loyalty. This is episode 1 of a 5-part series called The Self Loyalty Journey. Here is the sentence I hear more than any other from the women I work with. And when they say it, there's always this mix of frustration and exhaustion and genuine confusion in their voice. I know what I need to do. I just can't stay with myself after I do it. That sentence is everything. Because what she's describing by saying that is not a knowledge problem. It's not a willpower problem. It's not a problem that therapy alone can fix. It's a gap, a very specific gap. And once I show it to you clearly, you will never unsee it. There is a lie at the center of personal growth culture, and I want to name it directly. The lie is that awareness creates change. And while it's part of the equation, awareness alone is not enough. Now, before you close this video, I want to be really clear about what I am and am not saying. I am not saying therapy doesn't work. I am not saying the insight you've built doesn't matter. That work is real, it's profound, and it got you here. Here's what I mean. There is a journey that every woman I work with has walked. It starts with awareness. The first moment recognizing that the patterns you've been living with, you were not born with. They were handed to you, conditioned into you. You learned them because somewhere along the way, they were the safest way to be loved, the safest way to belong, the safest way to survive the dynamics you were in. Awareness of that is profound. It's real and it is necessary. And it leads to insight. The ability to understand why you over-explain, why you can't stop justifying decisions you've already made, why you freeze when a certain name lights up on your phone, why you take on other people's emotions as your personal responsibility, why you were conditioned, sometimes from very early on in life, to abandon yourself just to keep the peace. And here's where the gap opens up, and this is what I need you to hear. Awareness lives in the mind. Insight lives in the mind. And the patterns you are trying to change, they do not live in the mind. They live in the body, in the emotional body, in the throat that closes when you try to speak your truth, in the stomach that drops the minute you hold a limit, in the hands that reach for the phone at midnight to undo something you said that was completely correct, in the chest that won't stop replaying a conversation while you're supposed to be sleeping. Those are not thoughts. Those are conditioned responses. And no amount of understanding why they happen is going to make them stop happening. Because understanding something and having the capacity to stay present with it are two completely different skills. I want to say that again because it's the most important thing I will say in this entire series. Understanding something and having the capacity to stay connected to yourself while you feel it, those are two completely different skills. You can know you don't need to explain yourself, and your fingers still start typing the explanation. You can know that guilt is conditioned, and your body will still carry it like it's a physical weight. You can know their reaction is their responsibility, and your nervous system will still go into high alert the moment the reaction arrives. That is not failure of insight. That is a gap in capacity, a gap between what you know and what your body has learned is safe to live. And here's the piece that makes the gap feel so lonely. And I want to name the loneliness specifically because it comes up for nearly every woman I talk to. When you understand why you do something and you're still doing it, there's a particular kind of isolation in that because you feel like you should be past this. Because the women around you don't seem to be struggling in the same way. Because you've put in the work and it doesn't feel like you thought it would. So you stop talking about it, you stop telling people, you carry this quiet confusion of, I know better, so why doesn't it feel like it? That isolation is not proof that something is wrong with you. It is proof that you are in the gap between insight and embodiment, between knowing and living, between setting the limit and being able to stay there with yourself after you do. This series exists entirely inside that gap. And here I want to leave you with something real to take into next week. Next time you second guess a decision you've already made, catch yourself. Name it, not to judge it, just see it clearly. Say, I understand why I'm doing this, and I understand it is not the same as being able to stop it yet. That distinction is where everything begins. Because the capacity to stay with yourself after you choose yourself is not something you either have or you don't have. It's a skill. It's learnable, and that's exactly what this series is going to teach you. Next week, episode 2, and this is the one I think you're going to want to share with someone. We're going into what actually happens inside your body after you choose yourself. Not just the anxiety of it all, but the guilt that feels like the verdict, the grief that doesn't make sense, the almost unbearable urge to text them back even when you know you shouldn't, and why every single one of those responses means something completely different than what you've been told. Subscribe so you do not miss episode 2 and the rest of the series. And if you want to go deeper right now, if you're already past the point of needing more information and you're ready for real support through this, the link to learn more about working with me is in the description. I'll see you next week.